Hello, it's Mr. Carson again. And now we're going to extend our understanding of Google Sheets by using data in a data table to create a chart or a graph. In every science report you are going to write during your time at high school, and even if you take it into college, you will be asked to not only produce a data table but also a graphical or a visual representation of what you found out. And then you should be able to talk about that as well. So let's go back to our Google Sheets and let's go back to the one we finished, our table we finished last time. If you remember last time, we created this table to show what we found out when we added different materials, 4 different materials to acid. And we ended up with this structure. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping to start off with, and let's see what's going on. So I'm going to make that a bit skinnier and then add one more column. Now I think something that your teacher or the reader might need to see is the mass difference between these two values. And again, we measure it in grams, so we can put it in there. So I put it in, and I haven't formatted, so I have to remember to format it. So I go up to wrap text, then I want to bold, then I want to center, and I want to center this way as well. And there we go. So if we're going to do this, now the program is really clever, and it will do some simple calculations for us if we tell it to do it the right way. So to tell it to do a calculation, you press the equals sign. So I've got an equals sign there now, and then I can tell it what to do. Now, obviously, if I want to know the mass difference, I want to know what the difference in mass is between when I started and when I finished. So I highlight that one and go to that one. And notice, or before I go to that one, if I highlight where I want to start, I tell it then to subtract. And subtraction is just a minus sign, and I subtract that one. So now I'm subtracting the purple colour from the yellow colour. If I hit enter, it does the calculation for me. Now, we learned last lesson how to copy. So if we can copy contents, in this cell we also have a formula. So what it will do, it will copy the formula but make it suitable for the next rows. So in other words, it will make, instead of for wood, it will subtract that one from this one, from this one, from tile, this one from this one, etc. So let's go up the corner, get the crosshairs, hold it down, drag it down, let it go, and there it does. It does the calculations for us. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just reformat this, make it in the center. Alright, now I think this is a pretty important one, so I'm going to bold it, because that's a big number. Now if I'm going to add this to our table, I need to put borders around, so I go to the border section, hold down, go to all borders and release. There we go. Now we've got a table which is looking very good. So to make a chart out of this, I simply across and highlight what I want to make the chart of. Now look carefully, notice that there are nothing but numbers in columns C, D and E. The label at the top has got the units and what I'm measuring, but there's nothing but numbers below, and that's what I'd like to see in yours. So if I want to do a chart, I can do one of two things. I can go to here and use that to choose a chart, or I can go to, and I'm going to do the long way, go to insert, go all the way down to chart and let go. Now the type of chart I'm going to use, I'm going to go to charts and we're going to do a column chart. So I'm going to do this one. Now as soon as I do that, I get a preview. Now my preview has got things there, but it's missing certain things. So before I can call it a chart of my values, I have to customize it. So I go to the customizing and click it. Now every chart must have a title. and the title should be telling the reader what you were doing. So in this case, we're looking at the mass difference of, oops, got to be careful with my spelling, of 4 materials when added to acid. Now that's a reasonable, it's a mouthful, but it's a reasonable thing. So if I hit enter, there it puts it in for us. Now we can obviously change that if we think there's something wrong. Now I did my editing on the way through, so it's there with it. Now that's the overall thing, what's showing me. Over here on the right hand side, we have the key to what these colours mean, and that's always really, really good. Now what we've got to do next is we've got to go down and tell people what the numbers mean and what these things are at the bottom. So the horizontal one is this one here, the marble, wood, tile and concrete, and that is the materials we tested. So if I do that and then click it, it appears below it. If I'm not happy with that label, I can edit it while we've got it here. But I'm happy with that, so let's push on. Now, there's a little arrow on here, if you can see it, it's just above the arrow there with my cursor. So if I go and click on it, I can also do the number side, the vertical side. And this was mass of material, and we've got to say what we measured in grams. Alright, and that appears there too. So it's all done. Now if we're happy with that, you can go of course and change colours and do all sorts of things here, but I'm not going to. You can then say, okay, let's have a look at it, and we go right to the bottom and say insert. And look, there is a visual representation of what we found out in our experiment. Alright, you can edit that chart if you really want to, and over here there are options about deleting and goodness knows what, but we're not interested in deleting. What we would be interested in though is in copying this and then pasting it into our document, our report document. Alright, so next time we're going to make a little bit more, and we're going to look at what's going on if we make a multi-trial table.